Well, joining us tonight on this big discussion, Prashant Bhushan, on whose petition the Central Information Commission had ruled that 6 major political parties must come under the RTI's ambit. He's joining us from Amritsar tonight. We also have a spokesperson for the Congress Party, Anant Gadgil, joining us, as well as D. Raja, National Secretary of the CPI. At this point, we hope to throw this debate open to more people as they join us. But Prashant Bhushan, let me begin straight away with you. Now that you hear that the government is proposing an ordinance to overturn the Central Information Commission's ruling, yet another attempt to stonewall RTI, how are you going to respond to this?
Well, we are not surprised with what the government is doing, because it's been apparent now for some time that the government as well as major political parties are very uncomfortable with the RTI Act, because once they have realized the power of the RTI Act, which they probably didn't realize when they got it passed on account of public pressure, now they feel that this is holding them accountable, doing a lot of holding the governments accountable, and therefore doing a lot of damage to corrupt politicians who want complete lack of transparency and lack of accountability. Therefore, it is not surprising that all of them are together demanding that this CIC ruling is incorrect and therefore should be overruled, whether by an ordinance or stayed through the High Court, etc. It exposes the hypocrisy of the government as well as of the other major political parties. In our view, this ordinance would be totally unconstitutional. You remember when the Supreme Court directed that all candidates should disclose their assets and liabilities and their criminal antecedents. That was also sought to be overturned by an ordinance or by an amendment to the Representation of People Act. But that act was challenged in the Supreme Court, and that was struck down on the ground that it violates the citizens' fundamental rights.
Are you saying that you believe such an ordinance, if indeed it was promulgated, would be struck down also by the Supreme Court as unconstitutional? Is that your belief?
Yes, in my view, it would be totally unconstitutional. It would violate the citizens' fundamental rights under Article 19(1)(a), which includes the right to information. And the Supreme Court has held in so many decisions that the right to information is a fundamental right, and it dates back to the beginning of the Constitution. It is not something which has been granted by the Right to Information Act. The Right to Information Act is only to put in place a system or a method by which that right could be accessed. But that right is a right given by the Constitution.
This is a right given by the Constitution. Let's get the Congress to react to that. Anant Gadgil, if political parties have nothing to hide, why are they so afraid of the RTI? Why are you stonewalling at every stage? Now talk of an ordinance to overturn this CIC ruling. What if the Supreme Court now strikes that down as unconstitutional, as Prashant Bhushan seems to think it will?
See, in the first place, my information is that this kind of an ordinance is not issued as yet. And when the government tries to do it, they will definitely talk with the other parties. But since you have taken up this topic, assuming that
no, we are saying we are not
saying that
there is
such
a
an
draft
ordinance
in
is likely
place.
to come. Then let me complete. Such an ordinance is likely to come. Now the thing is, when we brought RTI, the main intention of RTI was to have a transparency in the government as well as in the administration. We as political parties are neither government nor we are administration. So where is the question of raising doubt? Secondly, we are accountable. There is a watch by the Central Election Commission. We every 5 years face the election. People throw us out in case we don't perform, and if there is a problem, every political candidate, every political party candidate who contests has to fill a form declaring his assets. So everything is transparent. The way we collect the money, there are ways our representative, whether it be a corporator, whether it is an MLA or an MP, has to donate certain amount of his remuneration or whatever you may call it to the party. So these are various ways, and we submit our accounts to the income tax. So everything is submitted to the concerned authorities. Where is the question? We are not using any public money for that. And I'm surprised to see, I'm an architect by profession, not a lawyer. So I cannot, argue on the legal point, but I am surprised that Mr. Prashant Bhushan, even before anything has gone to the Supreme Court, is saying that it will be turned down by the Supreme Court. How can you say that Supreme Court will turn down something which has not even come in front of the Supreme Court?
Respond to that. Also, the point that we're hearing at this point is that the very definition of what makes a public body could possibly be amended. Now, if that happens, what do you think is the next step forward?
You see, public authority is something which has been defined under the Act. But even if it was not defined under the Act, as the Supreme Court has said, that the people of this country, being the ultimate sovereign, have a right to know what the various public authorities which are exercising public powers over the people are doing in every respect. RTI Act further says that every authority or every non-government organization which is substantially funded by the government is also a public authority. The Central Information Commission pointed out that the political parties not only exercise enormous powers over the people in as much as they are the parties which form the government, they exercise all governmental authority, they have the power to disqualify their MPs, they decide all the policies and the laws that this country will have.
Right.
And on top of that, they are substantially funded by the government by way of being given huge
concessions,
huge infrastructure as well as land, etc., at throwaway prices, by giving them free airtime on All India Radio, on Doordarshan, etc. And therefore they are clearly public authorities over which the people of this country, who are the real sovereign, need to know how they are functioning, how they are funded, who funds them.